The view of the Seattle skyline is typically beautiful near Alki Beach.
Nothing.
But today,
a lot of white.
Mark Falcon is playing a little game of Find the Landmark as he snaps a few photos of the smoky skies. The Space Needle and Great Wheel barely visible.
Is that maybe the ferry dock south? Forget it.
Only the ferries themselves can be seen as they pass through Elliott Bay.
I mean, we have friends that used to live in our building and they moved to Queen Anne, and we can't see them and they can't see us.
Bob Ora tells me this is the second day in a row he's worn his N95 mask. A large plume of smoke that developed from wildfires in Oregon and California started moving into Olympia, Tacoma, and the rest of western Washington in the last 24 hours as the state tries to get 14 major wildfires of its own under control. Nearly 627,000 acres have now burned statewide since Monday, making this the second worst fire season in Washington's history.
This has happened because we have changed the climate of the state of Washington in dramatic ways.
The governor urging property owners to clear grass and brush around their homes to prevent even more catastrophic damage in the days and weeks ahead. Right now, the air, very unhealthy, even hazardous in some areas, is marked by the dark dots on this map.
We just heard it's a really nice spot.
Craig Martin's first trip to the Emerald City may have been hampered by the gloomy skies, but at least he and his girlfriend got in a picturesque hike on Mount Rainier before the smoke moved in.
We still like Seattle. We definitely want to come back.
Steve McCarron, KOMO News.
It's unusual.
Seattle shrouded by smoke. Instead of boats on beautiful blue water, everything looks hazy yellow.
The visibility was kind of like almost 0 to none.
In Rainier Beach this morning, Dee Duggins ventured out on his boat, despite warnings from city leaders to stay home and to stay indoors.
Seattle doesn't get too many hot days, so I'm just trying to take advantage of any opportunity I have as far as the boating season goes.
Seattle's mayor closed boat ramps, beaches, and city parks this weekend because of all the wildfire smoke. Health experts warn people not to run or do any strenuous exercise, but that didn't stop people from venturing out. We saw runners and joggers. At the Olympic Sculpture Park, we ran into Dave Martinez. He's up visiting Seattle for the weekend.
The smoke's not as bad here as compared to Oregon.
It is a must-do when you're visiting Seattle, checking out the iconic Space Needle. But today, the beloved landmark has virtually disappeared in all the smoke. At Cary Park, you won't find a postcard pretty Seattle.
Sony A9 with a 200 to 600 lens.
Adam Deere of Seattle ventured out to capture something different.
It's just sort of a bummer that there's such interesting shots because of what it means. It's all wildfire smokes.
It's almost like bizarre.
Richard Cole, he's visiting from Detroit, Michigan. He had to change some of his plans because of the smoke.
Yes, I was supposed to go to the Woodland Park Zoo today, and they closed it.
As a paramedic, he knows the dangers of bad air quality.
This is not good for anybody with asthma or breathing problems.
But he says he's in good health. For all the others outside with him.
Come out, take a picture, get back in your car type of thing, probably.
In Seattle, Suzanne Fawn, KOMO News.
And we're trying to close the door as quickly as possible.
Wade Biller's recovering from a machete attack Tuesday evening, right in front of the 12th Ave Arts building. It happened during one of his usual volunteer community patrols.
There's a layer of skin just going everywhere.
But Biller says he's more annoyed by the rise in crime in his Capitol Hill neighborhood, especially assaults and burglaries compared to last year. And so far, Capitol Hill is second when it comes to calls for service.
If something does happen, you may not get a response from 911 still.
Biller says the lack of police enforcement on the Cal Anderson Park encampment is drawing in more criminals to the area who feel emboldened to do whatever they want. SPD did not get back to us about these claims. As for Biller's attacker, police say Hernanda Bendison was arrested and is being held on a second-degree assault charge, thanks to Robert Flagg.
I helped identify him after the fact.
Flagg is one of Biller's neighbors who says some others have remained silent on crime, fearing retaliation.
Till then, I think it's going to be like it is.
We're fending for ourselves.
But Biller says he sees this as an opportunity to mobilize his community.
So we're really just wanting to build that circle of trust and let people know that we can make this better if we join together.
Hi there, Michelle. Yeah, it's important because we have to still take our time regardless of these case counts that are taking place. We don't want to rush into anything to make those cases go right back up. So schools in King County right now are back in session, but according to the State Department of Health, talk of returning to some form of in-person learning can begin when our case counts are below 75 per 100,000. Now in King County, we're at 65 per 100,000 right now. Obviously some good news, but But additionally, according to the Institute of Disease Modeling, the transmission rate, which is the number of people that can get infected by a person with the virus, is at 0.8 in Western Washington. That's encouraging news because doctors want that number to be below 1. Now, when asked if we should start discussing a return to in-person learning, Public Health Officer Dr. Jeff Duchin says we still have some waiting to do.
Because of the current calendar situation around the Labor Day holiday, and we've advised the schools to wait 2 weeks to make sure our patterns are stable, because we know that after each of the last 2 holiday weekends, Memorial Day and the July 4th holiday, we saw spikes in COVID-19 activity and transmission.
If trends continue after those 2 weeks, Duchin says discussions can start for potential to bring young kids back in the classroom. But again, Duchin says not to rush into anything. And the key word there are young kids. So basically, they think it's important to bring the younger kids in first, those lower grades. And then if we're successful throughout that time, then we could bring some of those higher grade students back in. But that 2-week period of waiting after that Labor Day holiday is expected to be around September 21st. That's when those conversations could potentially begin. For now, live at home in Seattle, Nick Popham, KOMO News.